So today, we're going to learn how to solve inequalities. To solve an inequality is just like an equation, inverse operations, but we have to be careful about our sign, and we'll talk about that when we get there. So the first problem is negative 1 times h minus 6 is less than negative 4. In order to get rid of the negative 6, we add 6 because the opposite of subtracting 6 is to add 6. If you add it to one side, you add it to the other. So now you have negative 1h, that is the 0, is less than negative 4 plus 6, which is 2. The negative 1 is being multiplied by the h, so the opposite of multiplying is to divide. But when we divide negative 1 on both sides, the positive 2 becomes a negative 2. The negative h becomes a positive h, and because we've changed these signs, we also have to change the inequality sign to be a greater than. Anytime the negative variable becomes a positive variable, the inequality sign has to switch around. So the answer is h is greater than negative 2. So we must graph. So negative 2 is to the left of 0. We're going to circle it. Because it's greater than, we're going to go to the right. If you're using Excel, it's really easy because all you got to do is click the point, click it again and make an open circle, then click the arrow down here and it goes to the whole graph. Number 2, 2w minus 2 is greater than 6. The opposite of subtracting 2 is to add 2. So that is 2w is greater than 8. The opposite of multiplying by 2 is to divide 2. So w is greater than 4. The positive w is still a positive w. The positive 8 became a positive 4. No signs change, so inequality sign does not change. Inequality, we have 0. 4 is to the right of 0. We circle it because it's a greater than sign. We leave it open. And we'll click on the arrow to the right, and that is our answer. All the numbers to the right of 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, and so forth. Number 3, do not be intimidated by the fraction. The opposite of adding 1 is to subtract 1, so we subtract 1 on both sides. That is g over 3 is greater than 4 minus 1, which is 3. Now this is g divide 3. The opposite of dividing 3 is to multiply 3 on both sides. So g and 9. The positive g is still a positive g. The positive 3 became a positive 9. No signs have changed, so the inequality sign does not change. 9 is to the right of 0. I have lost my equals to sign. Because it's equal to, I have to shade in my circle. It will already be shaded in on iExcel, and I'm going to click on the arrow to the right, and there it is. Number 4, the opposite of adding 3 is to subtract 3 on both sides. So I have r over negative 2 is less than or equal to a negative 10. The opposite of dividing by negative 2 is to multiply by negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 goes away. That's a positive r. Negative 10 times negative 2 is a positive 20. Now, the negative r became a positive r. The negative 10 became a positive 20. Since signs have changed, the inequality sign has to change to be r is greater than 20. 0. 20 is to the right of 0. We circle it, we shade it in, and we move it to the right where greater than is. Now, all of our problems will not go to the right. It just seems that I selected a bunch of problems that went to the right. Some of them will go to the left if the inequality sign goes to the left. Alright, number 5. The variables on the right-hand side, that's not an issue. We're just going to have to switch it back over when we get done. The opposite of adding 6 is minusing 6. Now do not be fooled. That negative is with the 12, not with the 6. It's always the sign in front. So 12 is greater than negative 12h. We're going to divide by negative 12. We're going to divide by negative 12. Positive 12 divided by negative 12 is negative 1. A negative 12 divided by negative 12 is a positive h. Because the negative 12 became a positive h, because the positive 12 became a negative 1, the greater than has become a less than. Now, we have to have our variable on the left-hand side, so I'm going to put the h here and the negative 1 there. Now, if you can remember from elementary school, the alligator wants to eat the most. Now, h is the most, so it still has to follow the alligator, follows the h. So, negative 1 is to the left. We circle, we leave it open, we go to the right. And the last example, that is a negative 8 minus x, or negative 1x is greater than 9. The opposite of adding 8 is subtracting 8. So negative x is greater than 1. Divide by the imaginary negative 1 and x. Negative x becomes a positive x, positive 1 becomes a negative 1, and the greater than becomes a less than. 0, negative 1 is to the left. We circle the negative 1, we do not shade it in because it's not a line underneath, and less than goes to the left, and so this is our answer. So, hope this is helpful. If you have any problems with your assignments today, then please feel to give me a text. Thank you, and have a good afternoon.